so happy the editor-in-chief of today's Parent Magazine, Sasha Emmons, is here with me this morning because we're talking about a topic that affects so many of our viewers, affects you and me. It's all about sibling rivalry, and man, the struggle is real.
It is so real.
It is so real. And I grew up in a home where my mom got mad at both of us if we fought. So we were always trying to keep the peace, me and Simone, and thank goodness my sister's angelic. Like, she's such a good girl, but we would still fight.
Right.
And that's sort of natural. I mean, we've all been through this situation. People ask me all the time, because I post the cutest pictures of my kids on Instagram, like, oh, they love each other so much. I'm like, yeah, for 30 seconds.
And that's when I happened to take the picture.
And that's when I take, look at this. I mean, I said, I'm taking your first day of school picture. She leaned into him, gave it, like, put her head on his shoulder. I'm sure on the way to school, they were kicking each other.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure of it, right?
So the good thing is that it's totally normal. All siblings fight. It is a totally normal thing. They fight because they're jealous. They fight because they want mom's attention. Sometimes they fight because they're bored. Sometimes they fight because it's a little fun.
Right.
To have a little bit of drama.
That's right. We've all had this kind of drama happen in our home that you just saw there, like a little tussle. But you want to think a little bit about how you're going to handle these situations, because they're going to kind of come up again and again and again. When it comes to getting in there and intervening, what's the rule? Do you get in there right away?
Well, so your go-to strategy actually should be to just let them handle it. That should be your first line of defense. It feels kind of counterintuitive, but the relationship you have with your sibling is the first one where you're working on conflict resolution and standing up for yourself and compromising. And that's a life skill that you need for work, for your relationship, for the rest of your life. So if you can, let them try to work it out before you step in. Sometimes you can help it along a little bit by saying, oh, you're not agreeing on a TV show. Okay, I'll turn off the TV and you guys let me know when you've come to a resolution, and then we can turn it back on. So that should be your first thing. Try not to do anything. That doesn't always work. Maybe they're starting to, beat on each other, and you have to intervene. Or maybe one comes to you because crying, because they've been hit by the other. So the thing you want to remember is VB. Okay. So validate their feelings. Oh, I know you're frustrated. It's so frustrating to have your sister keep taking your toys. Right. But then give the boundary. So, but we don't hit. We don't hit each other in this household. Right. And so then that should be your strategy after that.
So do you ever do the thing where it's like, okay, who started it? Where did this come from?
Right.
Please don't, like, you're not supposed to be talking to your sister like that, or you didn't clean up your toys and you're making him do it again. Right. Do you go through that, or is that just getting too much into the fray and the drama?
You don't want to feed into the drama. You want to try to remain sympathetic and validating their feelings, but also kind of non-emotional. You don't want to let yourself get heated up, which is really hard to do because it really pushes buttons in us when our kids fight. But try to keep it non-dramatic, non-emotional, just kind of matter of fact. And then that just helps to dissipate it. If you start to take sides, that's just going to amp up the drama even more.
But what if one of them is wrong?
Well, if one of them did something,
like,
if they hit,
it's really your fault.
Yeah, if they hit or they did something they broke a rule in your house, then you gotta give consequences for that.
Okay, all right, fair enough. You say talk when everyone is calm.
Right.
That's probably a big point, because things just go out of control when everyone's, have their emotions out there.
In that moment, you're not going to be able to tie it up in a bow and have everyone walk away from it happy. So you have to kind of wait until everyone's calmed down. If you do family meetings, that's a good time to kind of bring up something that happened and talk through it, so both kids can kind of say, well, I felt this when you did this, and revisit the situation and maybe figure out how will you handle the situation next time. Instead of hitting, maybe next time I'll just leave the room or something like that. Speaking of leaving the room, sometimes they got to leave the room. Sometimes they have to be separate. And that's okay. I think, sometimes we tell them, one of you maybe the basement and one of you your bedroom, and just take some time apart. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. And it's also okay if you find you're getting overheated to just step away for a minute too, because if you start yelling, and it's something everybody does sometimes, and it's really hard not to, but if you're yelling, then you're providing a role model for them of how to handle conflict. So if you're yelling, you're going to see them yelling at each other as well. So it's okay to have a mommy timeout too. I give myself major points for not yelling, like major, because it's really, well, it's hard. It's hard not to yell as a parent. You just want it to stop. And
I imagine probably for parents that grew up as only children, it might be even tougher because you're seeing this fighting happening, which is very natural and normal part of any relationship, and you're thinking, well, I've done everything wrong.
Right.
My kids hate each other, and I don't know what I like. They're, everything's going to be terrible.
Right.
But it's a part of life. We argue with everyone in our lives. I do, anyways. Does anyone else? You argue with your boss at work, your colleagues, your husband. It's all figuring out how to do it fairly.
Fighting fair is a life skill, and it's something that they're learning. As long as they still have times where they're loving on each other, that's okay. It's normal to have some squabbling, but try to catch them the times when they are being kind and really great to each other, and really make sure that you reinforce that. You always want to kind of reinforce the great behavior that you're seeing more than drawing attention to the not so great behavior.
So wasn't it so nice that you poured your sister a glass of milk? That is so sweet of you.
Exactly.
And isn't that great that you helped her clean her room and back and forth?
Notice those things.
Notice it.
Right.
Okay, so it's okay. Don't intervene right away, but don't let them turn into Fight Club mode.
Right.
Get in before you
Fight
get
Club.
to that and fight fair. Great advice, Sasha. Thanks.